In the quiet of a crisp November morning in 2018, a frantic voice crackled through a 911 call in rural Iowa. "I don't know what happened, she's got a goddamn fork in her back." Todd Mullis's voice trembled as he sped toward the hospital. His wife Amy slumped lifelessly in the truck, a corn rake, a brutal, four-pronged farm tool, having pierced her body. This wasn't just a freak accident in the heartland of America. It was a mystery that would unravel a small town's secrets, exposing betrayal, rage, and a chilling question. How did a beloved mother of 3 end up dead in a shed on her family's farm? For true crime enthusiasts, this is a story of deception and heartbreak, one that will pull you into the lives of a seemingly perfect family and leave you questioning what really happened that fateful day. Stick with me, because missing this tale means missing a case that shocked a nation and tore a community apart. Background and setup: Earlville, Iowa, is the kind of place where everyone knows your name, your business, and probably your favorite tractor. Nestled in the rolling fields of Delaware County, this small farming community of fewer than 800 people thrives on trust, hard work, and tight-knit bonds. In 2018, Amy Mullis was a familiar face here, a 39-year-old mother of 3, known for her bubbly personality and infectious smile. To the outside world, Amy was a devoted wife, a nurturing mother to Tristan, Taylor, and Wyatt, and a former nurse who traded hospital scrubs for farm boots to work alongside her husband, Todd, on their hog operation. Todd Mullis, a stoic, hard-working farmer, was the epitome of the American Midwest. He was a straight shooter, a man of few words who let his calloused hands and long hours in the field speak for him. Together, he and Amy ran a successful hog farm, a sprawling operation that demanded constant attention. Their 3 children, Tristan, 13, Taylor, and Wyatt, were the heart of their world, or so it seemed. But beneath the surface of this idyllic family, cracks had begun to form. 5 years earlier, in 2013, Amy's affair with another man had shattered the trust in their marriage. The betrayal cut Todd deeply, and though they attended counseling and Amy left her nursing job to work on the farm, ostensibly to spend more time with family, friends whispered that it wasn't her choice. "She was a prisoner on that farm," one friend later said, describing how Todd controlled Amy's every move, from who she could see to how long she could be away from home. Amy confided in friends like Patricia Christofferson and Terry Stainer, admitting she felt trapped, her life regulated by what some called Todd's approved friend list. By 2018, the strain in their marriage was palpable. Amy was restless, yearning for connection beyond the farm's endless chores. Todd, meanwhile, was hyper-vigilant, his trust in Amy never fully restored. When he noticed a change in her behavior that summer, his suspicions flared. "I've seen this movie before," he later told investigators, his radar up for signs of infidelity. A dive into Amy's phone records revealed frequent texts with Jerry Frazier, the married field manager of their hog operation. When confronted, Jerry insisted the messages were about work or their kids' activities, nothing scandalous. Todd even called Jerry's wife, who reassured him everything was fine. But the truth was far darker. Amy and Jerry were entangled in a secret affair, one that would soon set the stage for tragedy. The crime, November 10, 2018, started like any other day on the Mullis farm. The air was crisp, the fields quiet except for the hum of farm equipment. Amy, still recovering from a minor outpatient procedure 4 days earlier, joined Todd and their 13-year-old son, Tristan, in one of the hog barns. The family was preparing for a delivery of piglets, and the division of labor was clear. Todd set up water equipment, Tristan arranged portable heaters, and Amy climbed onto a 5-gallon bucket to clean light fixtures in the barn's ceiling. It was grueling work, but routine, until Amy started feeling off. She was getting dizzy, Tristan later recalled, his voice steady but heavy with memory. She had to hold herself from falling off the bucket. Concerned, Todd urged Amy to rest, suggesting she head back to the house. But first, he asked her to grab a pet carrier from a nearby red shed, about 30 yards from the barn, to protect a litter of kittens from heavy machinery he planned to use later. Amy agreed, leaving Todd and Tristan to continue their work. It was the last time Tristan saw his mother alive. An hour and a half later, Todd glanced out the barn's office window and noticed the pet carrier hadn't been moved to the shop as he'd asked. "Go check on Mom," he told Tristan, his tone casual but firm. Tristan trudged to the red shed, expecting to find his mother struggling with the carrier or perhaps already back at the house. What he found instead was a nightmare. Inside the dim, cluttered shed, Amy lay face down on the floor, her hands and knees crumpled beneath her. Protruding from her back was a corn rake, a heavy, four-pronged tool used to move grain, its sharp tines designed for piercing, not raking leaves. Tristan's heart raced as he checked for a pulse on her neck and arm, finding nothing. "I freaked out," he later testified, his anxiety spiking from 0 to 100 in a split second. He screamed for his father. Todd rushed to the shed, his face paling at the sight of his wife. He later told police he had to remove the corn rake from Amy's back to get her out of the narrow shed entrance. With Tristan's help, he carried her limp body to the family truck, placing her across Tristan's lap in the passenger seat. As Todd sped toward the hospital in Manchester, Iowa, where Amy once worked as a nurse, he dialed 911. "I don't know what happened," he shouted, his voice raw with panic. "She's not responding." The dispatcher urged Todd to pull over and attempt CPR. On the side of a quiet country road, Todd laid Amy flat on the truck's seat, pumping her chest in a desperate bid to revive her. "Come on, Amy, come on," he pleaded, but her body remained cold and still. By the time Deputy Luke Thompson arrived, flagged down by a bloodied Tristan, it was too late. Amy Mullis was pronounced dead at the hospital, her death sending shockwaves through Earlville's tight-knit community. Investigation: The Delaware County Sheriff's Department faced a case unlike any in recent memory, only the fourth homicide in a decade. Initial reports suggested a tragic accident. Amy, dizzy from her recent procedure, must have fallen onto the upended corn rake. But Dr. Craig Thompson, the emergency room doctor and medical examiner who received Amy's body, wasn't convinced. "She had 6 puncture wounds across her back," he noted, his brow furrowing. 4 tines, 6 holes. The math doesn't add up. Thompson called in Dr. Kelly Cruz, a forensic pathologist with the state medical examiner's office, to perform the autopsy. Cruz's findings were chilling. Amy had not only 6 puncture wounds but also blunt force injuries to her face, hands, and knees, suggesting a struggle. The wounds' varying directions indicated the rake had impaled Amy at least twice, possibly 3 times. This was no accident, Cruz concluded. The sheriff's department now had a murder to solve. Deputy Travis Hemisath arrived at the farm that evening, combing the red shed for clues. He found only a few drops of blood where Amy's body had lain, with no splatter on the walls, equipment, or chemical totes nearby. An oddity for such a violent attack. The lack of physical evidence raised questions. Defense experts Daniel and Dina Nishewit later argued, if someone stabbed Amy 3 times, you'd expect blood everywhere. On the walls, on the suspect, on Amy herself. Yet, the shed was eerily clean. With limited experience in homicides, the sheriff's department enlisted Iowa's Division of Criminal Investigation. Detectives turned their attention to Todd Mullis, the obvious suspect in any spousal murder. His story was straightforward. He'd been with Tristan in the hog barn all morning, only sending Amy to the shed for the pet carrier. When she didn't return, he sent Tristan to check on her, leading to the gruesome discovery. Tristan initially backed his father's alibi, telling police, "I was with my dad the whole time," but as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a motive rooted in betrayal. Amy's affair with Jerry Frazier, the farm's field manager, had reignited Todd's old wounds. Friends revealed Amy's growing unhappiness, her fear of Todd's controlling nature, and her confessions that she wanted a divorce. "She told me if Todd found out about the affair, he'd kill her," Terry Stainer recounted, her voice trembling. Amy even told Stainer where to search for her body if she ever disappeared in the new timber on the Mullis property. The affair, combined with Todd's discovery of Amy's texts with Frazier, painted a picture of a husband consumed by jealousy and rage. Investigators also examined the farm's security cameras, which could have captured activity around the red shed. Curiously, no footage existed from November 10, though one camera mysteriously recorded the following day. Todd claimed his cats had knocked the camera antennas offline, but prosecutors suspected he deleted the footage to cover his tracks. Even more damning were internet searches found on Todd's iPad. What happens to cheaters in history? Thrill of the kill, and killing unfaithful women. The searches, conducted in the weeks before Amy's death, suggested premeditation. But Jerry Frazier wasn't off the hook. As Amy's lover, he had motive. His marriage and family were at risk if the affair came to light. Frazier admitted to the relationship but claimed he was home in Anamosa, 45 minutes away, watching college football with his son at the time of the murder. Cell phone records confirmed activity in Anamosa, and his son corroborated his alibi. Still, defense experts argued Frazier could have left his phone behind to create a false alibi. Ultimately, investigators ruled him out, focusing solely on Todd. The case hinged on Tristan's testimony. Days before the trial, the 14-year-old admitted he'd lost sight of his father a couple of times while fetching water from the barn's office, each absence lasting less than a minute. This cracked Todd's airtight alibi, giving prosecutors a window, however brief, for Todd to have committed the crime. "It's a game-changer," prosecutor Matthew Troiano said. "Tristan's not saying he was with his dad the whole time anymore." Outcome and aftermath. In September 2019, the Delaware County Courthouse was packed as Todd Mullis faced trial for first-degree murder. Court TV cameras captured every moment, from prosecutor Maureen Hughes's opening claim, Amy was viciously taken by her husband, to defense attorney Gerald Feuerhelm's insistence that reasonable doubt surrounded Todd's guilt. The prosecution painted Todd as a controlling husband driven to murder by Amy's infidelity and desire for divorce, which threatened his farm and livelihood. The defense argued Todd lacked opportunity, pointing to the lack of physical evidence and Tristan's testimony that his father showed no signs of distress or blood after the alleged crime. Tristan's testimony was heart-wrenching. Via closed-circuit TV, he recounted finding his mother's body in the frantic drive to the hospital, his mother's lifeless form across his lap. "I checked for a pulse," he said, his voice breaking. "I just freaked out." His admission that he briefly lost sight of Todd was pivotal, though the defense argued the fleeting moments weren't enough for Todd to commit such a brutal act and return unscathed. Todd took the stand, calmly denying the murder and the incriminating internet searches. "I did not do this," he told the jury, blaming the missing camera footage on his cats and insisting he was a doer who rushed Amy to the hospital out of instinct. But his demeanor, described by jurors as cold, didn't help his case. "He seemed like a cold fish," one juror later said, noting his lack of emotion when discussing his wife's death. After 7 hours of deliberation, the jury delivered its verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. Todd shook his head as he was led from the courtroom in chains, sentenced to life in prison without parole. Amy's family exhaled in relief, but the victory was bittersweet. "This is a tragedy all around," an alternate juror reflected. 3 beautiful children lost their mother and their father. Todd's motion for a new trial, citing his defense team's failure to argue Amy's death as an accident, was denied. As he appeals his conviction from prison, the case continues to haunt Earlville. Amy's death exposed the fragility of trust in a small community, where secrets festered behind closed barn doors. The media frenzy, fueled by Court TV and 48 Hours, kept the case in the public eye, with viewers debating Todd's guilt and the chilling question: could a fall really cause 6 puncture wounds? Closing reflection: the Corn Rake Murder is more than a true crime story. It's a stark reminder that even in the Heartland, where fields stretch endlessly and neighbors wave from porches, darkness can lurk. Amy Mullis's vibrant life was cut short, leaving her children to navigate a world without parents, and a community grappling with the unthinkable. Was Todd Mullis a calculating killer, driven by betrayal to commit a heinous act? Or was he a grieving husband, wrongly convicted on circumstantial evidence? The truth may lie somewhere in the shadows of that red shed, a place where love, trust, and life were shattered by a corn rake's deadly prongs.